everything going wrong when it should. Just like, the good old days.
Yeah. Oh, and Devin from the Acacia Strain was there. He drove down with his wife Moya. They drove like 6 hours or something to come hang out.
Wait,
I could
at
be
the
wrong
time,
about
he was living out there?
Yeah, they were living out there, but in a different part of the state.
Wait, is Devin from California? I know.
No, he's from Ohio, but he moved out to California because his wife's from California.
Okay, something like that. I'm through like just seeing people's Instagram posts like that, and also because I think he always wears Oakland. He's a big Oakland. Well, they're not the Oakland Raiders anymore. I heard.
Oh, I don't know.
I think he's a big. He always wears like I think he's a football fanatic in terms of.
I just know what sports are from like what bands wear jerseys.
Like, I'm not a sports person myself. When
I see Devin wearing like a football jersey, I'm like, oh, he's dressed like Kerry King. Like, I'm not thinking he's wearing a football jersey. Because I feel like Kerry King used to wear football jerseys.
He did. I never put that's. You might make a good point there. He might be just replicating Kerry King.
Devin sang that song Viper City with us because there's that part in the middle, the straight edge part, and we needed somebody that was still straight edge to sing that part. So some of the band is still, I'm still straight edge. Some of the other guys are still straight edge. That's all I'm gonna say.
Don't need to go on anything. Respect. I appreciate fellow straight edge brother forever.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice. Yeah. Oh man, that I got to talk about that too because I didn't realize we did this. There's that Instagram page called the Straight Edge Interviews.
That's right.
We both did that. I totally forgot about that. We had little interviews on there.
It's hard to find stuff on there because there's so many posts, which is cool.
Yeah, but, you gotta dig.
Yeah, and Instagram still has not made it easy to find old stuff. Like it's so. You can't search for show me this date. Like you have to just if it's a year ago, you have to scroll back and scroll, wait for it to load. So
which I think they probably should have already done something about it, but it's such a huge task. I get why they haven't gotten around to it. So
I guess,
but yeah, because
no pity for Zuckerberg.
You're making it hard researching on you for sure, but I'll get back to that later, the straight interview thing, I guess. But Europe.
Oh, I love Europe.
Okay,
great country, great continent.
That's a little bit different. I don't know. I'm a big fan of the Hard Lord podcast. I don't know if you've listened to that. Okay, so I'm trying my best not to because they ask some really good questions, and I don't want to steal anything from them, but I'm surprised. You said you love Europe. A lot of people tend to not like Europe as much, so I'm happy to hear your experience. I don't know what's wrong
with them. Europe's fucking sick.
I mean, I was born and raised in Europe, but I never
really
toured Europe. Military brat, born in Germany.
Oh shit!
Lived most of my life in Germany.
Man, you've lived in a lot of continents.
I always say I gotta get up to the U.S. military because if it wasn't for that, my dad wouldn't be in Korea, wouldn't have met my mom, and I'd probably be just somewhere in Houston, Texas, probably. But
all right, well,
thanks, U.S. Army.
All right, good. That's all right. One check in the benefit column for the U.S. military, I guess, is they gave us Matt from Diazable. Yeah.
But yes, Europe, you thoroughly enjoy it. Yes, let's get a little rundown. Of course, the differences of touring in Europe and America, especially the things you love.
I mean, first of all, they got castles and shit. It's like a different culture.
That's a no-brainer. Who doesn't love seeing castles?
Yeah, so when Recon would go on tour, when I would go on tour with Recon, 2006, 2007, I would always be like, and keep in mind, these are not high production shows where you have to get there at 11 a.m. and do a sound check and fucking make sure the lights were you just know it's like DIY shows, usually at fucking VFWs or something, or some all ages show, usually not at even a bar, you know what I mean?
Whoa.
So there'd be lots of time to wander around. And this is also before mobile internet, really. Some of us had T-Mobile sidekicks, but
hey, we all wanted that sidekick, the king of
dude. It was sick.
Oh, so jealous I still didn't get one.
It was sick, but so I would wander around a lot, and it's cool seeing like different stuff, like even in America, like, oh, this is what gas stations are like in fucking whatever, Tonopah, Nevada. Actually, Tonopah, Nevada is terrible. That's a bad example. But
The worst
you know what I
example I
mean?
could think
Some
of.
random small town, seeing what's up. But in
Right.
Europe, it's like you wander around before the show, and it's like, wow, there's like, all these cool castles and like all these weird like, buildings that have been here for like 400 years or whatever,
Mm.
and like, people like tend to be more polite and not acting like they want to fight you because you have tattoos, like, it's just like a different culture, probably because they don't have to worry about like, dude, I don't want to get real into it, but there's a lot of stress that comes with being an American. Like, shit, what if I have to go to the hospital and then I have to fucking sell my house to pay for it? You know what I mean? Europeans don't have that in the back of their mind, right?
Oh,
So,
I can have living in Korea, like be as an American, people are always like any little inconvenience, go to the hospital, go to the hospital. But it's so ingrained in my mind. I'm like,
right,
it's gonna cost so much. I'll just tough
right,
it out. No, I'm good.
right.
I'll
Yeah.
figure out a home
Like,
remedy. I'll do it myself.
right.
It's
Yeah.
so
Cause you're
frustrating.
like, yeah, you're like, fuck, am I going to have to like get a second job to pay? So anyway, yeah, not having that stress, maybe that makes people more relaxed. I don't know. But then the shows, and so let me put it like this. So when I was touring a lot in the US, it was in 2006, 2007, and it was like, you didn't get food or anything at the shows. You know what I mean? Like, there was this dude, Jesse, in Florida that got us all pizzas, and we were like, holy shit, like, living
Jesse for
like
the
kings.
win.
Yeah, and like Ted Etal in Albany would do that, but not for us because we're from Albany. But he'd do that for the out of town bands. But that was
Mm.
like very rare. And I remember talking to my buddy Jason, who I've known since probably before I started going to shows. But he sings in Origin, but he used to sing in Skinless for a little
Oh,
bit as well. He was on that
oh,
CD, that Skinless CD, Trample the Weak, Hurdle the Dead.
oh,
Um,
good album.
yeah, and so before the first time I went to Europe, playing with First Blood, I was talking to Jason. I was like, dude, I don't know what it's going to be like. And he's like, oh, same thing. You get to the show and there's catering. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck kind of show Skinless is playing, but that's not what I'm accustomed to. So the shows in Europe, it's like first impression from a show and from playing a show in Europe, because before like people get there, you get there, you load in, and the promoter's like, here's food, and you're like, oh my god, thank you, and they're like, hope
Before you
it's
play?
okay, and it's like, this is fucking amazing. What do you mean you hope it's okay? And dude, then they bring out more food because dude, like, there'd be like all this like, little like make your own sandwiches, and like, First Blood, most of the guys, including myself, are vegan, so it's like, oh, we got you a lot of like vegan spreads and stuff. It's like, cool, I'm gonna fucking, like whenever one of these plates gets low, they bring out more stuff, so I'm gonna make myself fucking 10 sandwiches because I'm used to like, I don't know when I'm gonna see food again. I'm also used to when I was touring a few years earlier, like I didn't have like a good job, so I'm like, I can't go out to a fucking restaurant while we're on tour, and I certainly don't have a fucking kitchen with me. So like, if I'm on tour and there's free food, I'm gonna fucking eat it. So it's like I fill up on all these spreads and stuff. Make myself little sandwiches, and then half an hour later they take it all away. I'm like, all right, glad I filled up. And then they bring out actual dinner. I didn't realize that was fucking snacks. And then there's dinner, like fucking vegan lasagna or something. Yeah. So dude, and then playing the shows, it reminded me of like the energy that and maybe this is just because like the 90s or when I was growing up, but for me there was like a certain energy in the 90s that I usually don't see since then. Sometimes I still do at shows. Like there was a show a couple weeks ago where it felt like a good like old fashioned show in my opinion, but
It just hit the right feelings, everything in the mind and the heart. It's
yeah.
like, ooh.
And in Europe, all the shows were like that. Like it felt like a little dangerous, but no one's trying to hurt you, and like everyone
Ooh.
is like super stoked that the band is playing. And also in Europe, like if someone is a fan of a band, they like will stay a fan of that band. Like in America, if you're not putting out a CD every year, like good luck keeping up attendance at the shows, you know what I mean? But in Europe, it's like, I mean, when I was in First Blood, when I started playing with First Blood in 2013, they'd only had They hadn't had a CD in a couple years.
I think they didn't even
I was
have
still play-
what was it? What was it? It was not the rules, but it was the one in between
Silence's
Kills.
Betrayal came
Was
out
that
in
even out at that time?
yeah, it came out in 2010.
Okay, so they're okay.
But to that 2013, people are still like super stoked, and like you play, then come back a year later, the same people are still there, even though there hasn't been a new CD still,
Mm.
and it was just a totally different energy, and like it's cool being exposed to different cultures because most of the people coming to the shows, or at least running the shows, speak English or enough English to like, even wandering around town, you can like get by. And of course, wandering around anywhere, like just like in America, you got to keep your wits about you, especially if it's like after the show, after dark, you got to keep your wits about you. But for the most part, people are chill. Like there's dude, I didn't think there was gonna be so much stuff to eat for vegan food, but there was like even for vegan food. Yeah. And some of it was like, the promoters bringing it to the show because it's like, oh, we know like lots of the guys playing the show are vegan, so we brought food for you guys to eat. But then even like wandering around, it's like they'd have just like vegan fake meats like at the corner store or whatever. Is I don't know, man. Europe's cool. People there are super nice. I always heard stories like that, like people in Europe were like really rude, and I did not experience that at all. Like at all. Everybody was super nice. And I don't think it's just because I was in a band that I was playing in a band that people liked, because even just like wandering around, going into stores or whatever, people were really nice. So I don't know, man. Like Europe, the energy was always super chill. Also, playing with First Blood, which is most of the tours I did in Europe was with First Blood. We would play like in front of like 6,000 people one day, and then the next day play like a basement show. You know what I mean?
Oh.
So yeah, it was like the best of both worlds.
You can have your cake and eat it. You're just getting it all.
Yeah. You can have the cake, at the 6,000 capacity show, and then the fucking rat salad at the basement show. It was great.
Oh my God, it's kind of interesting hearing like your positive like experience with Europe, everything, because also I'm thinking of like me living in Korea, going to shows in Japan and Korea, and I think something kind of clicked in my head just now when you said like people are ride or die, like they're very about the bands. And I want to say, I don't want to throw shade to us Americans, but like I think because when bands have to go, hardcore bands, metal bands have to go across the pond and wherever they do, like I think a lot of those people are they're just really more appreciative because they don't have to come to Europe, they don't have to go to Europe, and so the fact that like they latch onto a band, they want them to come back every time because that might be that one time, maybe they'll come one, twice, and they'll never come back again, or like it's just too expensive, or they just didn't like the crowd. But if they like the participation and everyone's really excited, of course the bands want to come back. So I think that's like why people are more like hardcore fans in Asia and in Europe, because if you're not a hardcore fan, the band's gonna be like, why are we here?
True, yeah, that could be it. Because also I would say that in America, and again, most of the touring I did in America was, over 15 years ago, but a lot of you kind of get the vibe like a lot of people are kind of like, you should be thankful that we're letting you play here. I mean, no one says that, but you like
you get those,
feel that to an extent, like at least, some of the places you play and stuff like that. And like, obviously the people that are like, singing along and stuff, like obviously they're like, oh, thanks for coming out here. Like, we know this is so far or whatever. But in Europe, like as soon as you show up, even like the guy who works at the bar, just like mopping up from the night before, is like, hey, thanks so much for coming here to play, and like everybody's like, thank you so much for coming. And maybe it's because I was always playing in a band that they knew was from America, so it's like, oh, we know this is so far for you. But I don't know. Yeah, I think part of it, you're probably right, that part of it's like, well, this band came from far away, so we better show them a good time if we want them to come back, I guess. But
yeah, and I don't know, I totally, exactly like that. And then also like being in Korea, like Japan, like I've never seen, like I see some people who are like the biggest Marauder, biggest like Cro-Max fan, and they're just have every single piece of merch. They're just so
yeah, dude.
they're nerds about it. They're in a good way, in the best way they can be, and they're very
Yeah,
supportive. While in America, we can be we're very standoffish. We're always like, what can
yeah,
you get for me? What can you do for me in a way? Well,
right.
I guess
Yes,
yeah, it's always
that's it. It's more of like uh like transactional in American culture, and I think it's beyond
yeah.
just hardcore, beyond just music. I think it's part of the
It's our
culture.
culture.
Yeah. Whereas in Europe, in my experience, it's more just like people are nice for the sake of being nice. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I've
I
lived
don't
most of my
know.
life there, and like it's so funny when I hear like bands like I had a bad time in Europe. I'm like, how? It's so
Right?
lovely. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I know
I've
you'd have to
never
go out of the
understood.
way to make it a bad experience. You would have it. I don't, maybe it's different from as a touring band, but yeah, it's like hard to have a bad experience.
Yeah, because I mean, even if it's not a good tour, I mean, unless you're a band that tours full time, so it's like, oh, this needs to be a good tour because we need to pay bills when we get home. Then it's like, but if
That's
it's not
stress.
that, right, right. So if it's like, oh shit, like we haven't had a lot of people coming out, then like, yeah, you got the underlying stress, like, fuck, how are we gonna pay for the, I guess, but like at least you could have a bad tour at home too in America, but at least if you're having a bad tour in Europe, there's fucking castles and shit around, and at least you're getting fed at the shows. But I think nowadays, I think it's more common to get fed at shows in the States
It.
as well.
Oh, okay. Because I'm saying, I'm throwing this. I hate throwing 10 plus years out of the states, been in Korea, all that. Like the game is very different. Like when I go back to
Yeah.
shows, when I go back home, I'm like, this is weird. So that's awesome that venues or booking agents are being more accommodating like that.
I think so. I mean, I haven't toured. The last tour I did anywhere was 2018 with Scavengers, and that was in Europe. And then we were supposed to tour again we started booking shows in Europe for 2020, but then there was that
That,
virus.
that thing,
So
something happened
yeah,
around there. I can't remember.
yeah, I can't remember exactly what, but it
Hmm.
fucking sucked. So
Oof, extremely. But I will say, because of that, I'm very grateful. If it wasn't for that, I don't I don't know if this would have happened in a sense of me becoming a friend of you. I would say a friend of
yeah,
yours. Like, so
yeah,
that's a great thing that came out of it, out of all the bad stuff. So I really
yeah,
appreciate
true.
you, John.
Because if it we wouldn't have been online becoming friends with each other because we both would have been outside,
Just doing our
getting into
lives.
trouble. Yeah,
Yeah.
you would have been outside in Korea. I would have been outside in Albany, and
Honestly, I think I probably, if it wasn't for Corona, I might have moved back to America.
oh shit.
Corona kept me here a lot longer than, well, I kept myself here longer, but definitely pushed it to longer.
Okay.
That's a different story another time. But Scavengers in Europe, which makes me
Yeah.
bring up Scavengers. Yes.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about Scavengers. I guess there's a big difference between Scavengers in Europe and in First Blood in Europe. Like there's some
Yeah.
differences in terms of touring and feelings. Like,
Yeah. Because when I started playing with First Blood, they'd already been a band for like 10 plus years and had toured everywhere, like all the continents, just about.
yeah, I think they've even
I
been out
think
here
all
to
of them except
Japan.
for Africa. All the
Yeah,
continents except for Africa and Antarctica, but that doesn't count.
only if you're
So,
Metallica.
right. Yeah. Metallica did that. So, it was, I mean, like I said, we played, some of the shows had like 6,000 people, with First Blood. And then with
Hmm.
Scavengers, it was a band that I started with my friends in Albany, and we only went to Europe the one time. So obviously, your
Hmm.
first time playing anywhere, it's not going to be like that crazy.
Right.
But dude, it was still somehow, even being like a band that booked the tour all ourselves, we didn't have a booking agent or anything, and being like an unknown band, it was, dude, you reach out to promoters in Europe and they write back to you, even if they don't know who you are. And a lot of them say, sorry, can't do it, cannot book a show for you, but they'll still write back and say that. Whereas promoters in America, and I understand they're overwhelmed with 100 emails a day, they don't write back.
Mm.
Again, I understand, but in Europe, they'll take the time to be like, no, I'm sorry, I can't do anything. But some of them will be like, but here's a guy who maybe can, or someone will just be like, I've never heard your band before, but I'm listening now, and sounds cool. Yeah, I think I know some bands from around here that would make a good show to put you guys together on. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, and like some of the shows were from friends, like Rico from Hardcore Help Foundation put us on Hardcore Help Foundation Fest. That was awesome. But again, you know, playing that, I played it a couple years earlier with First Blood, and it was like very different experience because obviously when I play with First Blood, there's like dozens of people like climbing over each other to sing along, and Scavengers, you know, there's people watching very politely. That's the other thing in Europe. Even if they never heard your band, they'll still watch, you know. And Andy from Spirit Crusher, I known him because the first tour I did with First Blood, his old band, the Haverbrook Disaster, did that tour. And I've been good friends with Andy ever since. So like he booked us a show, but so we still like, you know, we were planning on like, okay, it's going to cost us this much for plane tickets. It's going to cost us this much to rent a van and rent equipment, and you got to pay the driver. And of course, the driver ended up being like the best dude ever, and I'm still talking to that guy regularly. My buddy Scott from Czech Republic, who I only met because he worked for the company that we rented the van from. You know,
shout out to Scott, being a good
dude. Yeah, and he's on tour with. He was just on tour with some big band. I can't think of the name now, but he's killing it. But yeah, my man Scott. But so we're like, you know, gas is expensive, so we're probably going to lose like this much money. And we ended up not losing that much money because we got paid for shows and we actually sold merch, even though people never heard of us before. Like people like, dude, sometimes there were a couple shows where people like be like, I got to leave. Like, I know you haven't played yet, but I got to leave, but you're from America, right? Well, let me buy a CD and a shirt. Cause they just want to like an out of town band is coming through their city. They want to be welcoming. So they're like, here, you know, I got $20 burning a hole in my pocket. Let me support you. You know, I mean, we still lost a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, but it was like, we had a lot of fun. We were planning on losing money. It was, you know, it was a lot of fun.
You got some money. So it was like,
yeah.
It's still, in a way, that's still a net positive. You didn't lose as much.
Yeah. Yeah. And, we made some friends, you know, we saw some old friends, and, we played this show with Crowbar, and
it kind of happened.
Well, we're not on that version of the flyer actually. I took that from the wall in the venue, but because originally it was just Crowbar and they didn't have any openers, but we just emailed the guy because we booked that tour all ourselves, mostly our guitar player Byron sending out emails all day, but Byron saw that there was this Crowbar show that had no one else on it, so he emailed the guy. He's like, is there any room for us to be on it? And he's like, yeah, but like I can't pay you and I can't feed you because like, you know, the show is costing me a lot of money. And we're like, we don't care, we just want to play. Like, we have nothing going on that day, and like it's way far out of our way, but
it's Crowbar.
Yeah. So, dude, the thing is, guys still ended up feeding us and paying us. Like, but it was just us and Crowbar, which was,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. I played that venue before with First Blood, and it was awesome. And I was like, oh, I'm looking forward to playing there again. That place rules. But, like, the Scavengers show with Crowbar was, like, one for the history books, personally. It was awesome. And Tommy, the drummer of Crowbar, was our drummer Jared's, like, one of his favorite drummers from when he was in Soylent Green and also all the stuff he's done with Crowbar. And you know, those guys were all like watching us. You know, they're one of our favorite bands. Like, it's fucking Crowbar. And we get off stage, and Tommy from Crowbar says to Jared, like, dude, like, you're a really great drummer. I really like, you know, and like, I think the third song when you did this, and like, imagine like your favorite drummer, like, telling you not just like good set, but like things he liked about you drumming. You know what I mean?
Oh, I could imagine like he was like universe explosion in his head, but kind of like, probably keeping his comfort. Like, thanks, bro. But like the child inside of him was probably the like,
oh, we didn't give a fuck. We're just like, yo, you guys are one of our favorite bands. This rules.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's all. I'm happy getting to like hear these stories about you because I like looking into the history of Scavengers and stuff like that. I guess I don't know if there's video of it by chance of you guys playing with Crowbar, but like I would never
No.
know. That's awesome that you guys got to play with them. But also it's throwing me off. I don't know if it's a Europe thing. They were just literally playing by them, like so. No one else
They
is
were
playing.
probably doing like a festival run because a lot of bands that are like
Oh,
known bands like Crowbar will go because Europe has like lots of festivals in the summer.
yeah.
So they were probably playing like bands will go over there for like a week or two and play like the big festivals and like have a couple days off in between those festivals. So they'll like book these random shows at like and that was in like a small club. That was in like a basement. It was a bar, but it was
Ooh.
a basement that
Crowbar in a
was
small,
like,
intimate location.
yeah, man, yeah.
Oh,
So
just to be at the shows, no, but to play it as well.
yeah,
Oh, I can imagine.
yeah.
But it's throwing me off. Like it just seemed like a big band. So what are they doing before? Like with just like 3 hours of just chilling and then they play. Like
Yeah,
I
I don't know. We hung out with those guys, like, um, you know,
it's
just
just weird seeing
chilled.
like I've seen flyers which is it's just one band playing. I'm like, do people just show up at like 10 o'clock, see the band, and then leave? Like, because I'm so used to like there being
Oh,
openers. I'm like, what do you do with all that extra time? Like, or you
I,
just
uh,
yeah.
I played some shows like that in Europe. Like, there was a First Blood tour where we played a show, and I think Austria or maybe um, Germany, but it was in like the middle of nowhere, and we were the only band, and it fucking sucked. Like, and I felt bad because it sucked for the people that came out too, because we played every song we knew, but
The
like,
crowd.
there's only so much you can do. It's like, it's
It was like the
why
crowd
didn't
was
you
just
book
not
more?
participating, or it was just like no one was there, or just
Oh no, there wasn't a lot of people there because what are you gonna go to a show for fucking? There's only one band, and
like yeah, like I love that. Oh, if it's a great band, I love. Oh, great, they're playing, but like plans are other bands are playing. You get other people who I've never met before. You get to interact with. It's like
yeah,
the show is fun, but sometimes the show isn't the show. It's going. It's the adventure
yeah.
of being
So
there.
I would say like the hour that we were playing, it was fun and it was fun for people there, but like besides that, it was a fucking boring ass night. And also some of those venues in Europe, some of those spots don't start the shows till like 10 p.m. It's fucking weird for me.
Oh,
Um,
that's another. That I would say. I guess sometimes in Asia and Korea it's like that. Sometimes here with
okay.
shows, they'll start either really early. And another thing that crazy, they say, "Oh, we start at 5:30." They start at 5:30,
Oh,
and then like
it's
they
not on
put.
hardcore time?
I had to learn really quick out here. I'm like, oh, it starts at 5:30, whatever. I get there, first band's already played. It's literally 5:45, and it's
Fuck,
like yeah,
yeah.
and then like 5:45, literally a minute, two, next band is playing. I'm like, we're
Wow.
not setting what, huh? There's no in between the lull and like go and smoke or whatever people chill.
Right, right, right.
Sometimes it literally they'll play like five bands in like 2 hours and just go really fast. I'm like,
Wow.
this is what. Granted, they play early because a lot of people. It's in the main city of Seoul. They have to take the subway back home, so they try not to
Oh,
put the
okay.
show until like they try and finish before 9:10, so everyone can at least hang out a little bit and then maybe take the subway. Like it's weird, like
Sure.
seeing a show like end towards midnight or anything like that.
Dude, you know what sucks is like going to shows in New York City that most shows in New York City start at a normal time, but sometimes they'll start at fucking like midnight or whatever. Maybe that's more like industrial shows. But it's like, dude, not only is this fucking past my bedtime, not only do I have a 3 hour drive home, but like, what if I took the train in? Like, do I gotta wait till fucking 6 a.m. to get the train out of the city? Like, what the fuck, But
And like
that's
in
more
America,
industrial shows, I guess.
yeah, like you gotta. I think if you're young, you can kind of do that on a whim, but like older, you gotta really like plan out because that's
Yeah.
like going to shows like that in Korea. Like not, they don't have that, but like that's the whole going out in Korea party and seeing like you stay out till 7 in the morning, get that first train. I'm like, oh, I could do that as younger,
Fuck.
but now I'm like,
Right.
I don't care. Give me a taxi. let me get to my bed as soon as possible. I can't do that first train. Oh
Yeah, no way.
yeah, no.
First, when I was playing with First Blood, we did a show in Spain where we didn't go on till like 2 a.m. and also we were on like 2 hours of sleep because we had to fly from like Germany, I think, to go play 2 shows in Spain and then fly back. But anyway, we're on like 2 hours of sleep and we didn't go on till like 2 a.m. And we played probably like the best show of the tour because we're just like out of our minds. But then like once we're done playing, we're all like, when you're like tired, you're like extra sweaty. Like if you haven't slept in a full like 24 hours. So it's like we're sweaty from playing. We're sweaty, just disgusting from being awake. We're like, all right, fucking goddamn it. Like, let's take a few minutes before we like bring this stuff out to the van. Another band started playing. We're like, what the fuck? It's like 3 a.m. Like, what the fuck is going on? But it was like, I don't know, man. Like some places, and it wasn't like a hardcore band. It was like a noise band or something. It was, but that, I don't know. Shit's different in different places. Like,
absolutely. Like,
yeah.
It's funny how like hardcore metal like started in America, but to seeing how it's in other places, I'm just like, y'all got the energy for this? Y'all got what? You doing this? I'm like, we starting this? Okay, we on a time scale. Oh, we not playing around. Like, it's just funny seeing like what we're used to, and then like seeing it in other places. Just like, oh,
yeah,
this is going on here. Which side note and everything. I'm just curious if you, because I'm here all the time in Asia. I don't know if you've heard about the Southeast Asia like scene these days.
A little bit.
Thailand, all that stuff. I don't know, if you ever get a chance, there's some like, hopefully I can send to you. There's some band stuff, but there's some videos, documentary. Like, it's crazy how a lot of bands are coming from America. They used to do Japan, but now like Southeast Asia is becoming more popular. And like the scene here in Philippines and in like Cambodia and stuff, I'll hopefully send you some videos. I would hope it gives you the feeling of like 90s hardcore and how intense they are.
That's like, from what I've heard from everybody I know who's played there. Like First Blood, not when I was with them, but they did like all the Asia stuff, and they were saying it was like just like it would be like some of the places is like $1 to get in or whatever, but like there's like fucking 500 people just like just going bananas. And like Thick as Blood, I know they did like lots of different countries in Asia.
Before it, like I would say after 2018 when Turnstile came out here, it really blew up even more.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was so surprised Turnstile came here to Korea, Seoul. And
that's
like
awesome.
It was right after they dropped Time and Space. I was like, what? I gotta see them. I saw them. And it's just crazy. Like, granted, the scene here in Korea is very small, but it was popping off. But then I watched videos of them going to Southeast Asia. Like, it's like a home show to them. Like, it looked like
that's wild.
Back of America, and then just now Knocked Loose, all these other bands coming out here and doing it. And it's just like, I kind of feel like Southeast Asia might surpass America in terms of putting on crazier shows. Like, it's just, they're wild. And literally, they have the numbers now. Literally, the size is like, just got from 2018 when I first discovered it to now, it's grown by like 3 times, like 4 times the amount. It's crazy, those shows.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I mean, I can understand like shows being nuts there, especially if there's a good amount of people that are going to the shows. Because let's say, I mean, I live in America. I've seen Knocked Loose many times, but they're from America. But like if you're in Asia and Knocked Loose is coming, and it's like, oh shit, like I've been waiting, however long to see that band. Like you're gonna go and you're gonna fucking go nuts,
Do whatever you can, change your schedule, all that. Get someone to cover your job or whatever, because they just pour out. Like even like some smaller time. Who's it? I think was it Jesus Peace? Nothing. Like I won't say they're small time, but like not as well known. But like I would watch videos, and people are coming out like crazy. Oh, who was Power Trip?
Oh shit!
Power Trip. Yeah, that was right before Corona and everything. I literally reworked my flight schedule because I booked my ticket, and in 24 hours they announced that Asia, Power Trip, Seoul, other parts. I was like, sorry, Dad, I'm missing your birthday. I pushed my flight back. I was like, Power Trip in Korea, like, and I'm here, like, absolutely, I am not missing this shit.
As a Texan,
I felt bad like whole time, like in the front, like Texas. Baby. Granted, there are a lot
Yeah.
of Texans in Korea, but it was just my
Oh.
like surprisingly there was no other Texans in that show.
Oh wow.
Which I thought there would be some crossover people living in Korea who are Texas and power trip, but I was like the only one there just going off on it. It's like this seeing like power trip right before they were really about to blow up in like a small grimy place, and like oh, just amazing. And then seeing them go into Southeast Asia, Philippines and stuff, and just crush it. Like it's
Yeah.
just oh, it's phenomenal that the scene out here
That's
is
great.
going wild like that. But yeah, side note on that and everything. I didn't want to take too much of the time on that. Um, Scavengers. Uh,
Scavengers.
yeah. Um, run me through the process of the records that you guys put out and everything in terms of like recording. Um, like like I put down here. Oh wait, no, that was different. Max Track. Do you know Mac? Do you remember Max Track Studio?
Yeah. Yeah.
You didn't record anything for Scavengers there. This is way before.
Yeah. No, Scavengers never recorded at Max Tracks.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I
But
wanted to talk
Recon
about Max Track
did.
Studio, but Scavengers like recording process for your albums and everything.
Yeah, so Scavengers broke up a few months ago, so this is all past tense. But
I'm sorry to hear
um,
that. Hopefully.
thanks. But we did 4 recordings. One of them never came out. Probably put it out someday. But
Mm-hmm.
all 4 of those recordings we did in New Jersey at Backroom Studios with Scott Moriarty,
Mm.
because he was friends with our first drummer Tom, and
And if I'm
Scott
correct, Tom
definitely.
had to quit the band because of health issues, I think, right?
That was Jared.
Oh, okay,
Um,
sorry.
yeah, so we had so let's see how concise I can make this. So the band started. It was my old buddy Byron that I've known since the '90s. He was in this band Wrath from around here. He was in Lariat. Then he had kids, but then his kids were old enough to brush their own teeth, so he wanted to start playing music again.
Mm.
And so he started Scavengers with me and our friend Dave Huffy, and then we got this guy Tom who moved up here from New Jersey. Tom's also been in his main band is Hundreds of AU, but he plays in Seisha now,
Mm-hmm.
and he was in You and I and all these like screamo bands that I never heard
Mm-hmm.
because
He's
that's
been
not my jam, baby. But
understandable, but
he
he's been
he
in the game for a
he
while.
yeah. And so he was like, yeah, my friend Scott, he does good recording. So we went down and recorded with Scott. And we decided not to get a singer when we were starting. So like I played bass and sang, Dave Huffy played guitar and sang,
Mm.
Byron played guitar and Tom played drums. And
Okay.
we recorded 2 recordings like that. And Scott would record us all live, and then we would just do the vocals separately.
Mm.
But we'd all be in the same room, just with the we'd all be in the same room with the drums, and we just have real long cables going to the amps in other rooms like isolation booths,
Okay.
and do a little punch-ins if we had to fix anything, and then do the vocals. And we did one record on Dave Huffy's label that was I'm gonna be honest. The first 2 record titles I always forget because Dave Huffy named them. But
Understandable.
Progress to Oblivion, on Wax Deli Records. That was Dave Huffy's label. And
Mm.
then Tom left the band because he didn't really like playing drums. Like he's really good
Oh,
at drums, but it's like he'll only play drums like if
he needs to play the
yeah,
drums. Oh, that's
yeah. Like he's a
interesting.
really good bass player. He's a good guitar player. He's a really good bass player, and he plays guitar and sings in Hundreds of
Ah,
AU and plays guitar in most of the bands he's in.
I
Um,
see. Okay, his love wasn't
yeah,
for
so he
drums. His
was
love is for
he was kind of
bass.
over it, and
Okay.
we got Jared from I've known Jared since the '90s. Um, like he grew up 3 hours north of here in Plattsburgh, and my old band when I was in high school used to like play up there because like I never toured. That's not true. I did tour a little bit before Recon, but I was still, even not doing lots of touring, I still did like lots of like weekends around the Northeast.
Right.
So I knew Jared from going to shows up in Plattsburgh. Also, dude, back in the 90s, I would drive 3 hours just to see a show because gas was like 90 cents. So fuck it, you know?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Before I even started driving, I can only imagine like when I see stuff
Yeah.
like that. Oh.
Yeah. So I knew Jared from way before he lived down here, and he's lived down here for like 20 years. And really good drummer. He was in this band Maggot Brain. And we recruited him to go tour in Europe in 2018. And that's when our second thing that we'd record with Tom came out. I cannot pronounce the name of it. It was another Dave Huffy title, but it was that was put out on I'm gonna fuck this up too because it's a French name. Our buddy Max from Canada put that out on cassette. It was Coup Sur Coup Records. I'm sorry, Max. I don't know how to pronounce it. Yeah, it's French.
You're trying our best, Max.
Yeah. But yeah, so we recruited Jared to play drums on that tour in Europe because we needed someone to play drums for that tour. And we never looked back. Like we played one show in Albany before the tour, opening for Bloodlet, which was fucking awesome. And
Ooh.
and I was friends with those guys, some of them, because some of them were in a band called Hope and Suicide that used to play up here a lot in the early 2000s, and my old band Save Yourself used to play with them a lot.
Mm.
So it was cool, like hanging out with those guys again. Anyway, I digress. We played that one show opening for Bloodlet with Jared, and Jared's like, "Yeah, dude, I'd just be in the band if you guys would have me." And we're like, "Well, we were just about to tell you you're in the band whether you like it or not, you know." So
You got it, and you don't even know it.
Yeah, but after that European tour, Dave Huffy stepped down, and then we got Jeff from Lariat, Byron's old band. He took Byron's spot when Byron quit Lariat to have kids. So the Scavengers tuning is actually like it's drop C, but one of the high strings, like one of the top two, so it's not one of the strings I would have on bass, is like half a step sharp or flat from what the tuning would normally be, because it's the Lariat tuning that Aaron from Lariat came up with. So that's the Scavengers tuning as well, just because that's what Byron's guitars were in.
And you just kept it with that tuning over time.
Yeah. So Jeff was like, "Oh, I know this tuning," because he was also in Lariat. And so Jeff sang and played guitar, and then we did 2 recordings with that lineup with Byron and me still, and then also Jared on drums and Jeff playing guitar and singing. And we did that record Anthropocene, which I can remember that name because I don't know. I just can't remember Dave Huffy's titles. I'm sorry. Also, there's some weird Latin.
Dave Huffy just putting weird stuff out.
I don't know. There's like it makes sense. The title of the second EP we did makes sense. It also fits into like the Anthropocene thing pretty well, but it's Latin, and I don't fucking know how to say it. Cannot remember how to spell it. Sorry, Dave. But
it's Latin, Dave. It's hard, but we still love you.
You know. Yeah, but so we did Anthropocene on Patient Zero Records. Shout out to Jerry from Patient Zero. And then we recorded 4 more songs for a split. The split ended up not happening because the band that was supposed to be on the split with us broke up.
Split. They split as well.
Yeah, but yeah, they split. But that was the last recording with Jared because he had some health issues where he had to stop playing drums. And basically, we would have waited till we had more than 4 new songs written, but he's like, "Guys, I think I only got a couple months left of drums in me, you know?" And it sucked because the kid's been playing. I mean, he's a grown-ass man, but he'd been playing drums since he was a kid. And, like, lots of dudes, like, play their instrument. Jared, like, fucking, like, he was one with his instrument, you know what I'm saying?
An extension of his body.
Yeah. But yeah, so he killed it on that final recording, but like we also went down to Jersey to record with Scott, just like we did everything else. But Jared like didn't even stay past like we did everything in as few takes as possible because Jared was like, he's like, I don't have hours of drumming in me, you know. And after like he drove down separately because he was like he needed to like go home after his tracks were done and like recover for a couple of days. And then we did one show maybe a month later. That was like a belated release party for Anthropocene because Anthropocene came out early 2021, but it was still pretty COVID-y. Like there weren't really a lot of shows happening for a while. So we didn't do the release party till like maybe like 9 months after it came out. A lot of people think we wrote Anthropocene during COVID. That's not true. We recorded it before everything got shut down for COVID. It wasn't mixed until a couple months into COVID because we were like gonna go down to the studio to mix it and just kept pushing that back. And then it's like, man, shit's not opening up for a while. I guess we just have to do this remotely. But there's that song about anti-vaxxers, the first track, New Plagues. We wrote that before COVID. Like, call me fucking Tornstradamus. Like, I knew anti-vaxxers were gonna fuck shit up. But yeah,
right
so anyway,
there's that rise of anti-vaxxers a lot. So it's like kind of like,
and I was like, man, someday there's going to be a real bad fucking virus. Everybody, you know, these guys are going to fuck up the response to this virus because of the fucking bullshit, and they did. But
that's another story.
So yeah, we played the release party with Jared, and I think that was the last time he played drums. But because that dude is the fucking man, he taught himself guitar and within like 9 months is already a better guitar player than I've ever been in fucking 30 years. And he plays guitar and sings in a band now called Schenectavoids. With his brother Jay, who's also a longtime friend of mine. And their drummer, I fucking can't remember his name. I'm sorry, man. But he was in Devoid of Faith, I'm pretty sure, which is an old band from around here. But yeah, and then we got Mike from At War with Shadows, who, again, like, we've known for like 20 years. He stopped playing music for a while because he had babies. His babies can brush their own teeth now, so he's like, oh, I'll start playing drums again. We're like, that's perfect because you're
Prime
playing
time
with us. Yeah. And but then Jeff had to step down for some health problems because he like fucked up his arm and like couldn't play guitar for a bit. So we were playing as a 3-piece for a little while. For maybe a couple months. And Byron was doing all the guitar responsibility, which means he had to like rewrite this. You know, when you have stuff written for 2 guitars, you're playing with one guitar, you kind of got to like rewrite some of it. Not like we're like fucking Dream Theater or something, but some of the parts have like harmonies where it's like, well, pick which guitar part you're going to play, you know? And I was doing all the vocals because Jeff used to do half the vocals.
So everyone got double duty in a sense. Like, it got more weight.
Yeah. And then we tried out a buddy of mine to take Jeff's spot, but everybody had stuff going on. So it was like also like Christmas time and, you know, it's, you know, those guys have like kids that are in school and stuff, you know, so everybody had other stuff going on. And then Byron was like, you know what? I don't think I can go through another lineup change because we lost we lost Jared and Jeff in the span of like 9 months or something like that. And Byron was like, you know what, man, I think I'm done. So that was the end of Scavengers because it was like we lost Byron. That was the 3rd dude now in the span of a year, you know. And so it was like me and Mike, and it's like, guess we're done, you know.
It just felt like it was running its course. It was just at that point where you felt like, we should just.
I always thought we would play like a final show or something, but that's just not how it worked out because the reason we broke up was like because people slowly left, and then like even those dudes that left, like it like they couldn't play, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Like, it sounds a lot of health problems were getting in the way, and just like
I'm sure Jeff can play guitar now, but it was like, I mean, it's too late now. Like, we're not gonna go play if like we'd all have to like relearn the shit now. It's not like it would be. Also, no one cares. You know what I mean. Like it's whenever we would play, like there'd be like 20 people there, which is awesome. Like we always had a great time, but everybody's on to new stuff. Like, but we got those 4 songs that we put one of them out because one of the songs is like a pro-choice song, and we put it out.
I think that was Simple Math.
Yep.
Very good.
But
track.
again, we wrote that before there were any changes in the laws about Roe versus Wade. Because again, apparently, if I write a song about something, then a year later, like something terrible will happen. So
you gotta write. You gotta do the opposite. You gotta write about terrible things so that something good will happen.
Right.
Or like,
well, I was writing about terrible things, but then they just got more terrible.
Okay, that's what it is. So write about good things, and the good things will get better.
I guess I'll try that. It can't hurt.
Doesn't hurt. Give it a try. Free healthcare for everyone.
Yeah. I'll write a song about that, and hopefully,
something will happen. Put it out in the universe. Literally, you're putting it out in the universe.
Yeah. I need to use that power for good instead of evil, I guess.
Yeah. It's accidental evil. It's not. It's by mistake.
Yeah.
Which brings me. Well, I mean, there's still so much time. Only 10 minutes left ish.
Dude, I don't care, man. I'm all caffeined up. I'm not gonna fall asleep for a while.
So
I just don't want to, I don't know how long you're trying to make this. I want to, I'm down to party, man. However long you want to go, I'm in it to win it.
Same. I'm having a great time and everything.
Yeah, I'll go to the loony bin with you. Fuck it.
Loony bin together. We'll go down together. And also these days, like a lot of people like listening to interviews, podcasts these days. So it's really nice. It's good conversation.
Late matters. This is fucking long.
Yeah, but it's fun. And also you can speed it up on YouTube and stuff. You can watch it like sped up and it goes by faster. I
wish you never told me that because I'm about to consume twice as much shit and just melt my brain even more.
My friend told me about that. I was like, oh, you can do this? And now I'm like, an hour-long thing can turn into like 30, 40 minutes because I speed it up a little bit.
All right.
So those get really pushed to the side really fast. And I guess it's bad with the consume, like it's fast consuming, but it's nice to consume more.
I mean, this is a nice, pleasant conversation. I've been watching, dude. So lately I've been putting like the scariest shit on YouTube to like fall asleep or like relax. Like, I don't know.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Like,
and they never found the rest of the body.
Those like true crime story stuff like that. I was into if you were like going like paranormal, like ghost stuff or like murder stuff.
Too. I got down a UFO rabbit hole the other day.
Once you're down that rabbit hole, any rabbit hole in general,
yeah.
People like stuff like that. I get it. Which makes me want to bring up Maitsuba.
Maitsuba.
Okay. So I've been saying it wrong. Not Maitsuba. It's
everyone says it like that. It's okay. Byron used to call it Matt Subles. So Byron from Scavengers used to call it Matt Subles because he couldn't remember what it was.
Okay. And I can't get mad. I should do better since you said my name Diazable correctly. Most people said disabled.
Yeah, no, that's the wrong amount of syllables even.
Yeah. So, but I'm sticking to my guns.
One of my best friends, Tony Diaz, so I see Diaz, a bull. I'm like, obviously this is about things that are easily Diazed. So it makes sense to me.
Quite easy. I guess not a lot of people know Diazes in their life. They don't know how to Diaz things. We need to teach people how to Diaz things.
I feel for them. I hope they get more Diazes in their life.
Everyone needs more Diaz in their life.
Yeah. So Maitsuba, you got any questions? Yeah. Is that the question? Maitsuba? Question mark?
Maitsuba. Yeah. Of course. I mean, I don't know. Have you gone on the record talking about it, like besides outside your Instagram and stuff? I don't know if you've done interviews with it or about talking about it with people.
Just a little bit. Like I did that Wasted Radio interview. I basically only do interviews about it with people named Matt. So, this works out.
Matt's for the
that's
win.
Not true. It's just Wasted Radio. His name is also Matt.
Just coincidence. But I would love to give like I want to talk about how I got started, why you got started, and possible like the future of how you feel like where it's gonna go and what you want where you want it to go. Because hopefully,
So I started so it's a record label, but also like I do other stuff with it too. Like I make those t-shirts that say "Pro Fucking Choice,"
I'll clip that
and
in
I
right
started
now.
making
Hopefully, that's me
what?
clipping it in.
Oh,
I was gonna like clip it in maybe so everyone wants to see it
yeah.
here or wherever. I
I'm
hopefully
pointing in
can.
different directions just because I don't know where you're gonna put it. But
I hopefully can figure it out. But yeah, there it is, guys.
yeah, uh, but I started making pins because I in like the 2000s I was like one of the premier button makers of the Northeast. Like I had one of those button presses, and like that's another way I would fucking feed myself was making buttons for like local bands, and also like made buttons for Candiria and like Burnt by the Sun and stuff like that.
Ooh, Candiria, nice name drop. I see you there.
Fucking love Candiria.
Who
That's
doesn't love
dude,
Candiria? And as a,
life changing band.
I'm mad
So
that
got to
I
see them
got
a
into
lot
it late.
in the '90s,
Yeah, but also I
dude.
would say like,
If
a lot of people say underrated band for sure. Not a lot like they don't get enough
yeah,
praise as they should.
yeah. First of all, you should have been older and living in the Northeast, and you would have gotten to see Candiria a lot more. So shame
Oh,
on you.
there, shame
But
on me.
yeah, Candiria is definitely like maybe at this point, maybe not everyone's band's favorite band, but their favorite band's favorite band. Because now there's like third generation like evolutions of what Candiria did, you know?
Yeah, it's
Um,
coming back. Always like with like fashion and everything, it comes back full circle now. Like some bands are bringing back that Kandarian vibe and style when people think it's new, but we're just like, oh no, it's kind of been
yeah.
not saying it hasn't been done before, but eventually things get recycled, but not in a
Well,
bad way.
also like I've never been good at like being like a music historian, but um, the way it seems to me is like with hardcore you got like your early stuff like um I mean what's that word it's like a term with evolution when we get the crab hands punctuated equilibrium, right? So it's like with evolution it's not like yeah, so it's a concept like with evolution I learned about it from watching X-Files, but basically Um, the idea is with I think that's the right term, punctuated equilibrium. It's not like fish started evolving feet like very slowly. It's like no, one fish evolved feet randomly like as a mutation, and then that fish had a lot of kids, and that's
Uh,
why fish started having feet living on the land or whatever the fuck.
hmm.
So I'm to me, and again, I'm not a very good music historian, and I'm probably wrong, but the way it seems to me is like you got your punk of the 70s, and you got something coming out like Bad Brains, just like totally fucking changing everything. And then you got bands that are like influenced by Bad Brains as well as influenced by like other punk and like hardcore peers. And then you got something like a crossover metal record like Cro-Mag's Age of Coral, and then it's like that's like a big, and I'm probably wrong. There's probably a bunch of bands that maybe were in between, but to me, looking back, it's like, it seems like when Chromax came out, then there was like a lot more like metal mixing with hardcore, and then you got your bands like Leeway and
Hmm.
say like Snapcase, one of the first bands to do the Deedle Deedles, in hardcore. Um,
Oh, I didn't know
like the
that makes sense though.
and then and then
Hey guys.